Hello, everybody. So I'm just going to be painting up this 1/6 scale United Empire bust of Plato. And I've got some colors already set up to paint the eyes and start from there. And I just thought I'd do a quick little stream just to see how this works and see if it actually works. So I'm going to get started. And I do hope everybody can hear me okay. If anybody actually chimes into this. So we'll see what happens. Using a little airbrush thinner just to thin the paint. And so here is my palette. This is what I would be using. These are all artist acrylic paints. Ultramarine blue, burnt umber, raw sienna, burnt sienna, cad red medium light, maple yellow hue, cadmium orange, and titanium white. And I've already pre-mixed some of the eye colors that I'm going to be using here. And that's just going to be a little bit off the screen a little bit. So hopefully all of this is in shot and you can see what I'm doing. So again, this is the first time I'm really trying to do this, so I apologize if it doesn't work. Let's see. I'm sorry, I kind of have to look over my shoulder to see what you guys are actually seeing because my computer screen is behind me. If I actually start to do this a little bit more often, I'll figure out another way to put a live video feed up in front of me so I can see what you're seeing. So let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. All right. So just essentially painted the eyes, and all that was a mix of white and a very, very small touch of ultramarine blue. And while I'm waiting for that to dry for me, just explain what I did before. So I primed the entire bust white, And then I went back over that and did some pre-shading. What I did was I took some burnt umber and blue, like a true blue color, and I mixed those two together and airbrushed in where the shadows were going to go. So we use that as base for the shadows. And then using a little bit of that mixture of the burnt umber and the blue, I then added a little bit of pink flesh and white, mixed all that together, and then essentially sprayed the highlights where all the highlights should go. So and I'll try to follow that kind of pattern when I'm painting the bust itself. So again, this is the first time I'm doing anything like this, really. So bear with me. I'm sure it's going to be hard. Hold on a second. Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to attempt to try to sketch in where the eyes want to be. And try to make it as round as possible. So, all right. Essentially, just the base layers put in for the irises and the pupils. Doesn't look too bad yet. Hi, John Paul. How are you doing today? So as I said when I started this up, this is just a little bit of a practice thing for me. See if I can actually do the whole like live streaming thing, and see if all of the equipment and software I have actually works. And so this is United Empire Miniatures 1/6 scale bust of Plato, the philosopher. And I bought this essentially because I really wanted to practice painting eyes. And as you can see, they're pretty well detailed, nice and big, so you can actually get some detail and stuff in there. So, all right, let's see here. So, John, what's going on in your neck of the woods? Is that because of the whole virus thing, or something else? Or oh wow, that I have no words for that. That's just horrible. I'm very sorry that that happened to you. Do you have any recourse, anything you can do about it to fight it? Well, good. I'm glad you're fighting it. Hey, just to see if this actually works, can you actually hear me okay? My microphone's kind of off to my left. Well, happy early birthday. 63, that's a good number. Let's see if that cuts down on the echo. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. They really don't. Let's bring this up so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Yeah, it's passable, I guess. What have you been working on lately? Oh, wow, that's really cool. What scale are they in? That was something I never got into building cars. Yeah, I think I've seen some of those. Some of them. You guys do great work. Well, sorry, it's a little warm here today, and mouth and stuff is all drying out. So I take a sip of water. Uh, sometimes when you stare at the eyes for too long, they start to look cross anyway, even if they aren't. 50 years. How many miles have you done in 50 years? Okay, I gotta ask. You've been building for 50 years. Do you still have the very first model you ever built? All right, sweet. What was it? Oh yeah, the Aston Martin, right? You keep screwing this one up. Good for you. I think the first model I ever built, I was probably like 10, I think. And it was a tank, World War II tank, probably. Can't even remember anymore. All right. All right, we're gonna have to stop working on this eye. Just keep screwing it up. Cat's light. Gilbert. I'll have to look for him. Do you know what his channel name is? I'm gonna have to leave the eyes alone here. I'm gonna really mess him up. May have to go back to it. All right. I'm gonna grab some more paint. Start working on some flesh tones. And what I'll do is let me put this out here. And let me see what I'm doing. Mondragon. I'll have to look him up. I like seeing what other people do. I can learn more that way. All right. Let's do. Need some alizarin crimson. Crimson, single, green, green. Okay. And oops. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check him out. I'll have to see if I can find his page and stuff. All right. I'm going to start mixing up some flesh tones because if I don't, I'm going to screw up the eyes even more than I probably have already. But add some alizarin crimson to the palette and some viridian green. We'll do. Probably gonna need some more white. White. All right. Let's back to this. So for this skin tone, I essentially mix raw sienna and white together. Nice big pile. All right. I'll definitely have to check his stuff out because I actually have to paint a dragon, so maybe I can get some ideas from him. All right. So here we go. Hopefully this isn't too boring. All right. Now we're going to take a little white. A little more white. Start adding in. Start making some of my highlights. And mix this way. I don't know if you paint figures at all or if you have, but the big thing about doing it this way is make sure you mix a lot of paint. Because as you start to go down, you start running out of paint. All right. One more. Take a little bit of this. And just a dab of alizarin crimson. Ooh, look at that. I did not add much to that, and look at how that changed. Just made mud. I can't correct it. We'll start a new file. See, this is why you mix a lot of this. Just for these mistakes. There you go, that's a little better. Hopefully you can see everything I'm doing here. Probably have to play with the camera angles and stuff so that if I do this next time, you can actually see everything a little bit better. Now let's start working with the middle colors. Okay, let's take a little bit of that. The master here. These are my mid-tones that I'm going to be mixing up now. And a little bit of white. A little more white. Add that in. We're going to add in some raw sienna. And a little bit of alizarin crimson. So to get a nice little medium mid-tone value here. Chris Cortell, huh? Look him up too. Sorry, if it takes me a couple of minutes to actually respond to you, it's because I have to actually look over my shoulder at my computer screen so I can see what the hell is being typed. Because of the way my desk and everything is set up. Okay. Next mid-tone value. And add a little bit more white to this. And we're going to darken it up with a little more raw sienna and a little bit more alizarin crimson. All right. Need a little bit more. This up. There we go. That's a nice color. There's a little mid-tone range. All right, one more for the mid-tones. Now what we're going to do is take a little alizarin crimson for that, a little green, a little more raw sienna. Mix that together. And add that. See, I'm starting to run out of paint. A little bit of master back in here. There we go. More better. Okay. Jump into some shadow colors. Some white. A little bit of green. Add some of this. Not going to be dark enough. I think this is one of the fun parts about mixing colors as you need them. Let's see if we can correct this a little bit. A little bit of the base. Put that in there. A little bit more green for this. There we go. Now we're starting to get it grayed out. A little bit more of a shadow color. All right. All right, let's just start with that. Now I can go back and adjust these other ones later. So essentially, because of the way I had spray painted this, obviously this gives me where my, gotta put some white on it. Because of the way I had placed all the lights and shadows, it should give me a rough idea of where I need to go with the rest of my colors. So I'm going to kind of start in the middle, just as my base. Just going to go here. And a little bit of the airbrush thinner really helps thin everything down. Okay. So John, if I haven't completely bored you to death and you've left, what else do you like to do? What other hobbies you got besides model making? Oh wow, drag racing? Really? Like funny car or I can't think of the other word, the other term for it. Or dragster, you know, the long ones. Uh, Sorry if I got my terminology incorrect. Yes, I got the links. Is the rail is the really long car, right? Wow. I can't even imagine what 200, 240 miles an hour. Wow. I can't even imagine what that even seems like. That's pretty amazing. I mean, really, I realize there isn't a whole lot in the way of uh, there's no turns and things like that in it, but still, just to hold the car steady at that kind of speed, it's got to be uh, kind of overpowering. Yeah, I can imagine. Wow, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I remember growing up in the '70s and watching the wide world of sports and seeing the dragster competitions on TV and watching. Uh, wish I could remember some of the guys' names. One guy was like Big Daddy something. Um, another guy, if I remember right, had like a Cobra or something like that on the side of his car. Probably using a bigger brush for this part. Yeah, that's him. Yep. So is there a chance that I saw you on TV in the '70s racing? Oh wow, that's very cool. So many models on display. That's really cool. Well, wouldn't that be something? If I can go back and see if I actually watched you when I was a kid, making you feel old or anything. Wow. Exciting. Exciting. So with all the racing and everything else that you've done, are you into like refurbishing cars and stuff like that too, or is you just kind of into the hobby of just building the model cars and stuff? Are you really sure models are a lot cheaper, considering how many you've purchased over the last 50 years and everything else? I mean, is it kind of a wash at some point? Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of money for just an engine. That's incredible, though. I mean, but obviously, you had to have some sort of sponsorship and stuff like that too, right? For all that kind of stuff. Wow, that's amazing. That's good for you. You did all that work. I, when it comes to cars, I can change my oil and change the tires. I am not very car savvy at all, and I'm okay with that. I actually have a friend of mine that I went to high school with, and well, from all the time that I knew him, he and his father were working on a 35 Chevy. I think that's what it was. And then my friend Dion got into racing, and he does the midget car racing. And he's got his own garage and does all the work and all that kind of stuff too. I think it's just fascinating stuff. Welcome. Um, Hold on a second. I need a drink of water. I don't know if I'm a good painter. I can fake it pretty well. For the most part, I keep most of the paints or the stuff I paint just for myself. I've never sold anything. I mean, I've sold board games, figures, and stuff like that, but that's not like this. Um, yeah, and I entered my first competition last year in at the local Oregon Model Society. I actually took first place in two of the categories for that, for the busts that I had entered. Wow, John, that's pretty cool. Street rods, toys for boys. Mm-hmm. You know, I uh, always wanted to own a classic car, but I don't want to work on it. It's like I said earlier, me and cars just not a good combination. Yeah, whenever I become rich and famous for something, I'll just hire somebody to take care of all the cars I want to buy. Oh, let's see. Maybe I'll just hire John. John knows a lot about cars. Maybe I'll just hire him. Of course, John, that's when I become rich and famous, and there's no timeline on that. So don't hold me to it. Yeah, I guess being rich requires work unless you can marry into it. So, John, is that because of all the new like rules and regulations and things like that? All the different modifications that have to be made and things like that, so that everything's really regulated, so it really cuts people out. Do you think that's it, or is it just because everything's so expensive? A rich widow's arm candy, huh? I guess you haven't seen me, huh? I'd still be in a wrapper at the bottom of the bag. No, so it sounds like, John, that they really just kind of priced them right out of being able to just build your own car and just kind of go for it, huh? Something like that. I don't like that at all. Oh no, really? A scrapyard? That's interesting. I never would have thought of that. Well, let's see here. Well, that must have been a sight watching a drag strip car go down the street. It's loud. So essentially, just in case anybody watches this later, I'm just kind of testing out some equipment to see if all the software and my camera and everything else would work. Looks like I may, based on what I'm seeing in my computer screen, I may have to do maybe a little bit different angle, just to maybe so my hand's not always in the way while I'm painting and things like that. But yeah, this was just kind of a test, just to see how things would work. And it's 3 o'clock. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I have to go run some errands and go pick up my car, John, at the Subaru dealer because it's broken and I couldn't fix it. Where were you when I needed you? So anyway, yeah, I can. I'm going to have to adjust where the camera is because it's not centered. So I'll have to do that the next time. I'll have to remember that and try to center the camera more onto the middle of the table. But thank you, gentlemen, for tuning in. I'm going to cut this one off here and make some technical adjustments and see how things look. Maybe I can do a little bit more tomorrow. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Appreciated the chat with everybody. John, have a good day. Inner hobbyists, have a great day. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye.